Hello, the name is Regis Kilvin, and the game is Hearthstone, and today I'm here to talk about a new deck from Reynad, popular Hearthstone streamer and owner of Team Tempo Storm. And a new deck he has created, the Reliquary Zoo. Reynad was famed for creating the original Zoo-style Warlock deck many moons ago, and he has returned in the era of League of Explorers to introduce the Reliquary Zoo to the world. This Zoo deck is still all about dumping minions onto the board and controlling the board with lots of little minions, but this time around it's really more about token minions and extremely affordable, cheap 1/1s and 1-mana minions that really overload the board and then utilize having multiple minions on the board for cards that synergize with all those minions, namely the new League of Explorers card, Reliquary Seeker, which if you have 6 other minions allows you to play a 1-mana 5/5, which is nuts, but also cards like Sea Giant, which cost 1 less for every other minion on the battlefield, and even Gormok the Impaler, a TGT legendary that if you have 4 other minions allows you to put a big body and deal 4 damage instantly. So this deck's all about getting cheap tokens onto the board, and virtually every minion in the deck either does that or allows you to clear an enemy threat that might be getting in their way and delaying you from achieving lethal. So that's the strategy for the deck. Let's just run through some of the deck's most interesting cards. Some of this will look familiar if you've seen Zoo lists at all, so I'm not going to go through every single card, but namely the Reliquary Seeker. This is a 1-mana 1/1. I actually deemed it one of the worst cards in League of Explorers, so it's interesting to see it already being played in a pretty high-end deck. It appears I might have been wrong, but we're going to have to see it in action to know for sure. As a 1-mana 1/1, that's not the worst card in the world, but it has a crazy battle cry. If you have 6 other minions, gain +4/+4. That's a really hard thing to achieve, even in this deck that's designed to have 6 minions on the board, so I think it's still pretty inconsistent, but the times it does hit, man, it makes a huge difference. This deck actually has a Zombie Chow, which seems a little crazy because most people would assume Zoo is so aggressive that you don't want to be healing the enemy opponent. But as a 1-mana 2/3 body, it's really valuable because it's likely to stay around on the board for at least a few turns. Plus, if you top deck it, you can still play it instantly and fit it into a lot of different mana curves, which is nice when you're trying to get minions onto the board. Dark Peddler is another new League of Explorers card. As a 2-mana 2/2, it doesn't sound all that exciting, but it's a little bit extra card draw, and it's card draw that lends you towards 1-mana spells like Power Overwhelming and Soulfire, which are very good at killing the enemy opponent or clearing taunts, but it can also give you 1-mana minions like Flame Imp, Blood Imp, or Voidwalker, or even another Reliquary Seeker, which is another way to load up the board with cheap minions. Echoing Ooze is a little bit atypical because it's not in a buff-centered deck here, but it's still another one that's 2 minions for 2 mana, so it's getting bodies onto the board. These are all pretty normal. Big Game Hunter is a little bit unusual, but it's just a way to clear out scary stuff that the enemy plays efficiently. You're not going to be seeing it often, but when it shows up at the right times, it can definitely win games. Gormok the Impaler is a little unusual, but it's another card that synergizes well with token minions being on the board. So Reynad likes this card. Most people aren't quite as high on it as he is, but I do see the reason for it in this deck. And then finally, your big bombs. Lothab is just a way to seal and protect your board once you've loaded it up so they can't use an area of effect clear. Dr. Boom's the best minion in the game and also happens to play a couple tokens himself. And then finally, Sea Giants are another big threat that you can play when you have 4 or 5 minions on the board very affordably. So they're awfully good to finish off people who don't have answers for them, though they do deny a big game hunter play on occasion. So that's the list. In regards to mulligans for this deck, it's really pretty simple. You want 1-mana minions. If you have a couple 1-mana minions, it's okay to keep some 2-mana minions, but anything that's 3 or more should absolutely be tossed back, plus your conditional 2-mana minions like Ironbeak Owl should be tossed back, and you never want Power Overwhelming. But Abusive Sergeant, Reliquary Seeker, Voidwalker, Zombie Chow, Dark Peddler, Echoing Ooze, Haunted Creeper, and Nerubian Egg are all okay. They're just fine to keep. I prefer getting Nerubian Egg a little bit later than earlier, but that's just me. If you don't care about getting damage out quickly, keeping Nerubian Egg in your mulligan is also fine. So without further delay, let's go ahead and take this deck into a game or two and see it in action. I think that's the best way we're going to learn how to play it and whether or not you think it's good and if it fits your own personal playstyle. If you like really aggressive board presence-based decks, this one is pretty fun, I will say. I've been seeing some success with it. Reynad actually played it to Legendary himself. We're not as good as Reynad, but we're going to try.
Gul'dan versus Anduin.
The light shall bring victory.
Your soul shall be mine.
Okay, so here we have a 1-drop, so we're going to keep that. Priests have a tough way of dealing with 1 damage, 1 health anyway, so that's going to be okay, even though we're not going to get to utilize its buff necessarily. We're also going to keep the Haunted Creeper just because it's really high value, and we have a perfect curve here in the mulligan. That's just dandy. If we'd gotten another 1-drop, we probably would have played it over the Abusive Sergeant, but having that early game initiative from a 1-drop is too important to give up, even though Abusive Sergeant's technically better later on. If this is a Dragon Priest, we're going to have trouble if he plays something like a... well, it's probably just a Control Priest, which can also be scary, but we should be okay. We don't want to trade that for him. That's silly, so let him do the work here with a Zombie Chow. He may heal it, of course, but could have done that anyway. So this is a very late game oriented control Dragon Priest. That's tough for us. We can't make that for him. We have to let him kill the Imp King boss and kind of start to pick him apart after that. Maybe use Implosion to get through this. This is going to be a very tough matchup for us. He has everything he needs to take care of our tokens. Multiple AoE spells, really hard taunts to deal with. Zombie Chow's early, that's scary. Okay, so I think we're actually going to use the Implosion here. The sooner we can get Implosion out without risk of Holy Nova, although he does have the coin, so he may have a coin Holy Nova set up and ready to go, in which case we get pretty handily wrecked. But we don't really have another way to play around Holy Nova anyway. Haunted Creeper would a little bit, I guess. We could trade Haunted Creeper, but he could still force the trades for Haunted Creeper. So this is our best play. If it only hits for 2, we can still kill it. Okay. We make that trade just to deal with it. Spawn another minion. If he Holy Novas, he could have killed it anyway, so it didn't hurt to do that. If he doesn't Holy Nova, we get the advantage and deal with the Zombie Chow. So that's not a Holy Nova. Okay, that's alright for us. That's actually pretty decent. We can just Gormok it. Make the trade. Always kill your non-demon minions first, just to develop habits, even though in this deck it doesn't really matter. I feel like my audio is probably just a little loud. We almost conceded there despite being ahead, so that's sad. You might have a Akanai, Soul Priest. No, not in this deck, not in the Dragon Priest, I guess. So far he doesn't seem to have the area of effect clear. We're going to try to kill this with Implosion, see what happens. Perfect. If that had hit for 2, I would have played the Haunted Creeper, but since we filled the board, I can't. I'm going to Life Tap instead. That might be handy later on, since this is a Dragon Priest. Reliquary Seeker sure would be nice, as would a Sea Giant.
The damned stand ready.
There's our Sea Giant. So, we're actually going to kill this. We have to make room for our Sea Giant first. We kind of cost ourselves a mana cost there, but it was necessary. We're gonna Life Tap. Okay, this is great. I have 6 other minions, I do.
I have big plans.
So you can start to see how scary this deck is right away. Like, we just played an 8/8 and a 5/5 for 4 total mana. And I actually think we could have got the Sea Giant out cheaper, but I messed up my ordering a little bit. It's in a bit of a hurry, so.
Let me change your mind.
Oh, we can deal with that. That's fine. 13, 17. Do we have lethal here? We might have lethal. So we need to get through this 3. We can play this here and here to make that a 2 and a 1. That's for 3. Then we have 5, 10. We have 18 damage. We don't have lethal just yet. But he doesn't seem to have answers, so I think we still make this play. Oh, I can do 18. Do we kill this? Or do we just go face? I think we just go face. What are we punished by if we go face? We have power. Let's tap first. We might just draw into lethal. No, we didn't. Okay. We're gonna go face. We have so many outs to find lethal. Plus, we have minions that are gonna stick to the board. He can light bomb and kill a lot of this, but our Nerubian will stick. We might draw Power Overwhelming to win. That doesn't keep him alive. That doesn't keep him alive. Light bomb doesn't either. The game's over. We win.
You have best.
Okay, so that was pretty fun. That's a good deck so far. Beat a really tough matchup there, so that's nice. We're gonna play probably one more game just to see how consistent this appears to be. Give you a better sense of the mulligans and whether or not you think this deck might work for you.
Gul'dan versus Valera.
Watch your back.
Your soul shall be mine.
Okay, so we actually have the exact same set of cards we had last turn. I don't like getting the Ruby and Eggs too early. I want to be able to play them when an area of effect clear is more likely to happen so that they have to activate the Rubian for me. So I'm actually going to keep the rest of this just because the curve is so smooth. The coin gives us some flexibility. We might save the Voidwalker, but I think we're going to play it first. Oh, definitely. This is a different kind of deck, so this is a great trade. I have to weapon up to get through, and then we're off to the races.
Get in there and fight, maggot.
I think we're gonna go ahead and play this. We're gonna coin out the Imp King boss just because it's favorable. It's annoying for him. It's better at slowing him down. Plus, we can actually still play 3 mana next turn smoothly. Won't be too problematic for us. He actually had a pretty bad turn too. He was only able to play 1 minion. Yeah, unable to trade, but no. And that's not getting effects. That's cool. So
Get in there and fight, maggot.
I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the Raptor just in case there's some kind of shenanigans I don't know about yet. Killing this instead wouldn't have enabled an extra imp anyway. Probably. So you probably just wouldn't be able to make the same trade cheaper. So we're gonna have Sea Giant unless he trades. Didn't trade. We can't get the Sea Giant out. Unfortunately, we have to life tap here. That's not great. I'd rather have the board presence and the tempo than the card advantage. If he has a tap for the Sea Giant, that might be nasty. Our hand's a little slow, but it's actually going to work out nicely. We can't. Oh, we actually can kill that. Oh no, yeah, we can kill that with Big Game Hunter, and I think we're going to. I doubt he has another minion that's going to be... Although it's a Death Rattle. I think we're going to do this.
I've got the beast in my sight.
Just because I don't anticipate getting tons of value out of Big Game Hunter. We're susceptible here to, like, Blade Flurry and Fan of Knives a little bit, but there's some pretty cool plays coming up. So, that might have been backbreaking for him. I don't know what's in his deck, though.
I have no time for games.
Yeah, we can probably just ignore that mostly. Taunt these guys up. I'm a little bit scared to play the Sea Giant just in case he wants to steal it. If I play this and he does something crazy like a Blade Flurry, these Death Rattles will go off before the Sylvanas Death Rattle, so it's still going to be very unlikely that the Sylvanas steals the Sea Giant. So I think we do this.
My shield for Argon.
And just go face. He's going to be getting very low, and the Sea Giant threatens lethal pretty quickly. And then we have Boom to follow up if he does do some crazy stuff. So, but I don't see how he gets out of this with 7 mana. Even with the Sylvanas, he's going to have a hard time triggering her. Just freezing that. Okay, that's fine, but that's not going to do it. Yeah, that's game. Maybe about 25 different ways to kill him here. Alright. The Reliquary Zoo by Reynad so far is working splendidly. Nice win streak bonus. I actually don't think we need to play any more games to understand how this deck works. I feel like we got a pretty good summary right there in those 2 games. It was very easy to load up the board. The synergies existed. We got some Sea Giants out. We got the Gormak out. We even got a Reliquary Seeker triggered. So that feels like a very solid deck to me. Again, Reynad played it to Legendary, so there's a chance you could too. If you look at the deck list, it's not even particularly expensive. Let's find it. There are, of course, 1 Legendary, 2 Legendaries to craft, a couple epics like Sea Giant, and like Echoing Ooze is an epic, but you could probably swap that out without too much difficulty. There are some adventure cards like Imking Boss, Lothab. You'll have to go through the adventures to get those, but really a pretty meager deck cost for such a powerful and so far very consistent deck. So I would encourage you to give the Reliquary Zoo a try if that seemed like fun to you at all. It was certainly enjoyable for me, and it has lots of potential too to win, so go out there and give it a shot. And that's going to be it for me, so thanks so much for watching. Have fun out there climbing the ladder with all these crazy token minions and Sea Giants, and until next time, game on.